Hi, Cheri. How you been doing this past week?
Hi. Well, it's been kind of tough.
Has it?
Yes.
Could you kind of expand on what's been tough for you this past week?
Oh, the girls.
Oh,
So, my daughter.
now, your daughter, does she, I don't recall, does she live with, she doesn't live with you, it's the two granddaughters that live with you, is that okay?
So,
Yeah. So has it just been a week that has been very tough on you? Or,
yes, I didn't get much sleep. The little one got sick, and you know how when they're sick,
sure.
they keep you up. And
So
So-
tell me more then about not getting much sleep. Did that cause you to have more depression during the day, or
I'm just tired.
just general tiredness?
Yeah,
Then?
just tired. and
Okay.
Just knowing that this is pretty much on my shoulders. I don't have any support yet.
Yeah, I would think this would be a very difficult time for you. Does your daughter, is she able to provide any support for her two children?
As far as financial, no.
Okay.
She got really sick about 6 months ago. She went and had a alternative procedure done that has actually destroyed her health. So she's actually sucking life out of me because she's in and out of the hospital now.
So is she also financially dependent on you to
No.
provide her support?
Nope, she knows I don't have any money to give her,
Right.
but she lives with a boyfriend who is the father of the youngest granddaughter, and they're
Oh,
still
okay.
together. But
Now, can you tell me, does your youngest granddaughter, does she have any contact at all with her mother or her father?
she does. They come and they get her every weekend,
Oh, okay.
and they're trying to take custody of her back, but then they change their mind, and then they'll say they'll give me custody. That's kind of a big mess.
Does that create a higher level of depression for you
Oh, definitely.
based on,
Mm-hmm.
could you expand more on that? What do you think the motivation is of your daughter and the biological father of your granddaughter? Why do they seem to be wishy-washy or whatever on providing you with the full custody of your granddaughter?
It's a good question. I wondered that myself. I know that when she was born, they were into partying
Oh, okay.
and their life, and since I had raised her first one, who is now 16, she
Right.
just kind of gave her to me and said, "Here, you take care of her. I'm not in good
The
with
little one she
babies."
gave to you.
Yeah, but it was, and so as time progressed, she didn't come back and get her. I said, "Well, I want custody of her." And she
How
said,
long was it from the first time? Did she drop her off shortly after she was born? They didn't come back for a long period?
She
Or?
never completely went home with her mom. Her mom was with
Really?
me for 2 weeks,
Okay.
and she just left the baby, and it's been real interesting. And
So then,
it was,
while your husband was still alive, both granddaughters lived
Mhm.
with you.
mhm,
Okay.
yeah, and
Okay.
I homeschooled them because the oldest one has special needs.
Right. I remember. Yeah, I remember from our first session that you
Mhm.
told me that.
So she
Now,
just has Asperger's. It's mild.
Now, with the Asperger's, does that create any hardship or feelings that she has for her biological mother? Because now her father, the younger granddaughter's father, is not the older granddaughter's father, correct? Okay.
That's correct.
Does the older granddaughter, she have any contact with? None at all. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, you had said last week when you were here that your daughter, she has some substance abuse issues.
She did. She's been in treatment, and that's one of the reasons I was more than happy to take the baby. And she's been in treatment for about 3 years, and she's been clean. But the drugs, they affect the brain permanently, and so I sometimes think she's got a split personality. And,
Okay.
she's not really would like the custody.
She wouldn't.
So.
She wouldn't like to have the full custody. Then you don't think of your granddaughter.
We discussed it, and she gets very irrational, and,
Okay.
and we just have never successfully resolved that.
Okay.
So
Well, I know this is a very, very hard time for you right now with the recent passing of your husband. Would you say that or could you provide me more insight into how the family situation was dealt with your daughter and your two granddaughters while your husband was still living? Was it different then, or is it a situation now where you feel that, my question is, was the burden shared then but between you and your husband, and now do you feel that all that burden is strictly on you?
My husband did share it until he got sick, so he was
Okay.
really sick for 2 years. And during that time, though, we still had his income, his disability,
Oh, okay.
his medical coverage, and I could leave the house and the girls would be with him,
So you knew they were safe.
they were safe.
Gotcha.
So now the 16-year-old, she was very high functioning, and so I'm not real comfortable leaving her with the little one yet. But I can leave a 16-year-old by herself, but not the 16-year-old as a
Right.
babysitter. So I don't have that support, and I haven't really thought about it till now. But that's probably a great deal of my stress
Is not having
Not-
alternative care for the little one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, as far as neighbors, do you have any neighbors that you feel could? No. Okay. None that you would trust at the level of.
No.
Okay.
We have some friends at church, but I try not to bother them because this is my life. This is not temporary, and I go to help for temporary, but not when it's a consistent every day.
Okay.
So her mother, when she can, her mother will take her on a weekend, and that's very helpful.
That's very helpful for
I just can't count on that. And I had.
Well, my question is what if we could have the ultimate scenario in the situation you're in now? Now, I know you're still dealing with a lot of grief from the loss of your husband, but I mean, as far as with your two granddaughters, what do you think would be the ideal scenario as far as, would you want somebody to come to your home to provide daycare? Would you feel comfortable taking your younger granddaughter? And I know that you tell me your granddaughter definitely has some attachment issues and things like that. But what would, if there's things that I could do to assist you, what would be helpful?
I think finding an alternative care provider would be very helpful.
Okay.
I think nailing down, a consistent care provider for a weekend when I have got to go run errands or eat things, so that she can play and be a kid and not be dragged around the adult world while I take care of.
Now, if you could tell me a little bit more, would you rather that somebody come to your house, or do you feel your granddaughter would be comfortable enough going to somewhere outside of the home?
I think outside the home would be fine as long as it was consistent and they also had children that she could play with.
Okay.
I think that would be very good for her to have other children to play with, since I do homeschool.
Right.
So
Now, with your younger granddaughter, as far as her cognitive functioning, would she be able to, and not that I think this needs to be the would she be able to participate and be an active part of a regular education setting? Would she? Okay.
that's a good question. Intellectually, she's very smart. We've just had diagnosed that she has trouble with tracking objects, spatial awareness, and eyes. So I'm working with a wonderful lady who's given us a scholarship to help get her
great.
started
Great.
with some, it's called vision therapy, and the eyes are preventing her from reading. And so she just doesn't have the dysfunctions of her older sister, but there are some what we call sensory integration dysfunctions where she has trouble really tracking the words across the page. They jump on her, and then writing just is very tedious for her. So otherwise I would have put her, next year into first grade most definitely, and I still might have to, but if I could just get through this year, maybe the intervention, she would then be okay. So they're saying about 3 months.
Now, is this issue with the granddaughter, is it neurological, or do you know?
It's
okay.
neurological.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, as far as the health insurance, you're currently covered on your deceased husband's COBRA plan through his employer, correct?
Right, till the end of the year.
Till the end of this year. One of the alternatives we have for health insurance is Missouri Health Net. Are you familiar with any of those? Missouri Health Net is basically the Medicaid that's offered by the state of Missouri.
Okay.
Now, and I can definitely put you in contact or provide you with resources to allow you to be able to obtain, because what they look for is they look for families that of course are have no insurance.
Mm-hmm.
Because now with your issues of depression, there's a mental health component that would cover, that could provide assistance for you there. For your granddaughter that's 16, they can do basic wellness checkups on her. For your little granddaughter, it's just like the insurance that I have through my employer.
Okay.
It's just offered through the state of Missouri. And they send out information to you. There's 3 different particular plans that you can pick from. So it's not that they're going to tell you, you've got to take this. My question is, do you think that that's a resource that would be helpful or beneficial for you?
Oh, definitely, because we lose everything in December, and I've got to start, with your help, we can figure out what all forms I need to fill out.
Right,
Get
definitely.
everybody before the deadline. Somebody said the other day, October 15th is when we start stuff. And
Oh, okay. That date I'm not familiar with, but yeah, I can definitely, if you want today, we can make a few phone calls and, get you pointed in the right direction for that.
that'd be wonderful.
Now, one of the things that I think that might be helpful is that if you were to keep a journal, would you feel comfortable keeping a journal? And I don't mean a video journal. If you want to keep a video journal, that's fine, but just something to where what you do on a daily basis. What happens on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday that causes your depression. What I'm looking for is triggers. Is it the behavior of your young granddaughter's behavior, of your older granddaughter's behavior, of the concern you wake up one where you're thinking, I'm not going to have insurance in 2 months. Would you feel comfortable keeping a journal this week on days when you have issues that cause your depression to increase? Would you feel comfortable logging that way in future sessions we could talk about that? Is that because I don't want you to do anything that you're not comfortable in doing.
I'm fine with keeping a journal. I'll do my best to write in it every day and see if.
Well, and if you don't write in it every day, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. Just maybe this first week, maybe we just need to start out with situations that you could journal that really create a high level of stress. Of course, stress leads to depression. Okay. Is that something you'd feel comfortable doing?
Sure.
You could bring it back next week. We'll talk about it now. It's between me and you. It's nothing that I share. And, now whoever you'd want to share it with, if you want to share it with your granddaughters, that's fine. But that's something that I think could provide me more insight because, while you're here, I don't know what's going on outside.
Right.
Now, as far as the depression that you've been dealing with, did that just come on with the death of your husband, or have you had issues previous to that? Because it sounds like you've really had a full plate to me for quite a few years with the raising of your daughter, then your 2 granddaughters, and the illness of your husband.
First that I noticed it was after he passed away. I just couldn't get going again. It was just a bit, probably too much, realizing that everything was on my shoulders.
Now, can you expand on that when you say you just couldn't get going? Was that you just couldn't get out of bed in the morning, just didn't feel like leaving the house, or?
Didn't feel like leaving the house, teaching them, I was pushing my feelings away.
Okay.
So I was not wanting to deal with me. So I was focused on the girls, and while I was focused on them, that seemed to help some, but I realized more of a distraction.
Right.
So I'm to a point where I know I can't ignore me anymore. So.
Well, and that's very true because, the first person you can take care of is yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But I just want to let you know that anything that you feel causes your depression to be increased, those are things that there's several different ways we can deal with those.
Okay.
Now, currently, are you seeking any medical treatment as far as any type of medication, Zoloft or anything like that? Okay.
I'm just using some alternative, melatonin.
Okay.
To some alternative supplements.
Some things that you can just buy over the counter at a vitamin or nutrition store.
Yeah.
Do they seem to help?
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah.
Like I said, I just try to bury me and take care of everybody else. So I don't know.
Okay. Now, when you say bury you, do you mean that you don't think that your issues are of importance, or do you think that you need to be the strong person? Okay.
Yeah, I'm not as important. I need to be the strong person because the girls, they just lost their grandfather, father figure, and saw him. I mean, he died in our home. They saw him deteriorate, and so, that's the way hospice work. That's the way the medical insurance is. That they prefer when you have cancer.
How has that impacted them? Are they very vocal about their feelings about the loss of their grandpa?
Well, the little one we thought at first was doing well, but then she started having a lot of crying episodes, and thankfully the sensory integration specialist we work with picked up that she herself was not really expressing herself, and that maybe she had buried.
So she shut down verbally?
She shut down. So she's talking now, and she's had some healthy cries, and I haven't had that yet. That's why I'm like, okay, I haven't had that yet.
We're still working through the process, and that's very common. I mean, that's very common. Now, are either your granddaughters or either of them talking to anybody or trying to get any help, or have you thought about that?
I just got, the older one was already in counseling for the Asperger's.
Oh, okay.
The little one, we just had her evaluated and found a firm that would accept the insurance and where we could afford that. And so we have them in counseling now, and I think it's helping.
Now, with your older granddaughter, does she have any SSI, disability income?
No.
Okay. That's something that we need to check into also, because that's financial assistance for people that have a disability, and it sounds like your granddaughter would qualify for that. Okay. And that's financial compensation offered, so that could, and I don't know what your financial burdens are, but that's one of the things that could definitely, I think, help you. Now, one of the things, too, that I would like to do next week when you come back, if you feel comfortable keeping the journal this week, is I would like for us to sit down and discuss these triggers. Do you know what a trigger is? Something? Okay. The triggers that cause your depression to increase. Okay. And then eventually, down the road, what I'd like to do is to see what steps we can take to either maybe totally eliminate some of these triggers, because if we go through the process of getting you on Missouri Health Net, hopefully that will lessen your burden of knowing that, okay, at least I have medical insurance. And then with your daughter with the SSI disability income, that will help. Now, that won't cause you to have a windfall of money, but it will allow you to do additional things for your granddaughter, whether it be therapy or whatever. So, but that's kind of the future, the plans for the future. Do you feel comfortable with that? I mean, because I don't want you to, you don't have to accept anything that I offer. This is about getting you to where you want to be. So
I think that took a lot of stress off, just knowing that she'll have some kind of supplemental insurance. I haven't taught her to drive yet because we don't have the money for any of those things. So that would be very helpful to maybe open up some doors for her and learn more about what to do as she gets older. So that would be very helpful, and I think I'm ready to take care of me and
Well, good.
and
Good.
acknowledge what's going on inside. And
Okay. Well, now, before we end the session today, is there anything else you feel that you want to share or need to share? Any questions you have of me?
no, not at this time. Like I said, our church has been very supportive. I just feel it's been 3 months since he passed away, and it's time to get on my
Right.
feet and be more independent.
Right. Okay.
That support starts to fall away.
Sure, yeah.
Right.
Because people forget about it and they think you forgot it, but you don't forget about stuff like that. So,
Right.
okay. Well, thank you for coming in, and I'll see you next week then.
Okay.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Goodbye.